Hey Sean, how you
What's
doing?
up, dude? How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm glad that you're joining me and Destino today. I really wanted to check in with you and talk to you about the show that you're currently working on, Shifting Gears. You're a first camera assistant over there. So,
Yeah, correct.
could you be able to tell us a little bit about that role?
Sure. Yeah. As far as the first AC goes, my job is really just a matter of setting the sizes for our shots. So the framing and the focus on it. So I collaborate with the operator. Say we have, oh, you're going to get a two shot or you're going to get a single.
Yeah.
So I'll basically zoom the camera in to get to that size that looks fitting for what we're shooting and what looks good.
Mhm.
Um, and then make sure it's in focus, and then we're following the actors around. So it's basically just zoom and focus.
Yeah, what does that entail as far as like who else do you guys collaborate with to get this?
Okay, so basically the way it works with my team, it's a three-person team. So I'm one of
Yeah.
three. I have my camera operator, and I also have a dolly grip.
Okay.
My dolly grip is basically the guy who's moving the camera left to right, up and down, booming it up and down. So we're creating motion within the frame as well as not just setting a singular size. So I'm talking with the operator, we're talking with the director or the camera coordinator as well, finding out what our shot list is basically through each individual scene.
Okay.
So let's just say they're like, okay, so and so is going to come in, they're going to sit down, they're going to get up, they're going to go out the door. So it's like our job is to determine how wide we want to see. Are we going to have a master? Meaning, are we going to see a big portion of the set? Are we going to visually see the couch and the chair and the office door, whatever the case may be? Or are we going to be in a single size where we're literally just it's just going to crop around myself, so it's literally just a tighter shot. Most single camera shows that people watch, it's a
Yeah.
lot of tight stuff. It's like a quick master wide shot to kind of establish where we are, and then we go right into super tight stuff. What we do in multicam is a little different. We have a lot more masters. We have a lot because there's so many different characters in any given scene. We
Yeah.
have to be able to expand and show a little bit more than just your prototypical single wide shot.
Yeah, I did. I've been able to see you guys in action, and I did appreciate that comparison to the single camera because it's definitely a different
It's a
style.
completely different world. What we do is like with single camera that makes it challenging in certain ways, makes it easier in other ways. Like with single camera, maybe I'll shoot a half of a page of dialogue and it's going to be really critical shots. So the focus is going to be super critical. We're going to shoot what's called an f-stop is basically the amount of light that comes in through the lens or whatever to allow exposure for the cameras, right? So when we
Yeah.
shoot in single camera setting, we're shooting mostly wide open. So focus, like for instance, this could be in focus and then this could be out of focus. So it's super
Oh,
critical focus wise, but we're going to shoot that one particular setup probably for 6 or 7 hours. So I'm going to get multiple tries and making sure that everything is exactly where they want it to be. Now
yeah.
with multicam, it's a little bit different because we'll have, say, anywhere from 6 to 12 different shots throughout a given scene, and we're moving at pace. There's no stopping. Once they say action and the actors start going, we're going. There's no stopping in the middle. It's like, oh, I messed up. It's you got to go. So what makes it challenging for us in that situation is we're going from shot to shot to shot, and we're trying to make it as seamless as possible and make everything as usable as possible to go on the air. So when they get in the edit bay, the editor's going, oh, I can use this shot, or we can use this as a cutaway for a reaction, or whatever. We're constantly making sure that most of it's usable. Some of it I know it's not going to happen. I'm like, we're going to have to zoom really quickly into this shot and get this, and then we're going to come back out, and it's like that will never be seen on television. And if it does, they were desperate. Like, oh, sorry, we messed up somewhere else. Because if you have to use that stuff, we're screwed. But yeah, it's just a little different for sure.
Yeah, that's exactly it. But as well as I wanted to talk to you about on this particular show, Shifting Gears, you're making the jump to a cinematographer. So how has that been like for you?
Okay, well, so it's kind of a process. I've been trying to make the jump to cinematographer for a very long time. It's
Yeah,
basically I'm third generation camera guy. My dad was a cinematographer. My grandfather was a cinematographer.
very,
I had a conversation with Don Morgan, who's the DP currently on Shifting Gears. We've
yeah,
talked throughout the years for a long time. He's been a mentor and a really good friend. And as things are changing in the industry and people are getting older,
yeah.
I made it kind of known that I really wanted to try to make the push to get into that position. And Don basically was gracious enough to say, hey, on shifting gears, when we go do the pilot, I want you to come with me in the beginning. I want you to be there from day one. And so I've been going through all the production meetings and doing all the stuff and just taking the steps of just being with him and through the production, through the entire first 10 episodes. So it's not that it's necessarily a given that this is what's going to happen. This is just kind
Right.
of been the start of a journey that I've been going towards for the last, I mean, literally since I was in the third grade, I've wanted to do this job. So it's the first time it's actually starting to roll that direction, and production has been really receptive to it, been really cool, and totally allowed it. And again, Dawn's been nothing but super gracious to bring me in. So I'm just kind of in the process of working into that direction, and then hopefully within the next, season 2, 3, whatever the story is, I don't know how the journey's going to end, but we're going that direction. So it's been a lot of fun. It's been really great, actually.
Oh, that's really great to hear. And no, I mean, honestly, it takes a lot of moving parts to get to
Yes.
this point.
Yeah.
So for it to be happening for you, and even
Yeah.
it's just being at the production meeting, taking notes,
Oh
that's
yeah.
uh,
It's been a blast. It's one of
yeah.
those things where I was fortunate, like I pulled into the lot the day that we first started the pilot,
Mhm.
and I literally just had this feeling of like I'm home. Like this is where I'm supposed to
Yeah.
be. Like I know I've been waiting for this, and it's funny because you can have these dreams and aspirations, and then you get into it like, oh, it's not exactly what I thought. This was exactly, I was like, yeah, this is it. I'm super happy and super excited to be a part of it, and looking forward to getting into that position moving forward, and hopefully do it for years to come, and we can keep these things on television.
Yeah, and I mean, I met you on the set of Mike and Molly years back.
We go way back, bud.
Would you be able to compare this current show to the work that you did on Mike and Molly?
Sure. Yeah. Well, I started the way camera. If anybody's interested in getting into camera, it's really beneficial to start from the bottom and work your way to the top.
Right.
I got into the business in the late '90s as an intern at Warner Brothers Studios as a film loader. That's when we still shot most of these multicams on film.
Yeah.
I went from that, and I actually interned and worked there for free. I went there a couple days a week after school for I think it was like 3.5 years, and eventually I got into a production. But the interesting part about that is the production was filmed for 9 episodes, and we went on hiatus and came back, and everything changed to digital. So
Oh, yeah.
from one way of doing things all the way to, oh God, I have no job. There's no more film loaders. What do I do? So I went from that to digital utility, or excuse me, a utility slash second assistant. So the job position that I had on Mike and Molly was what's called a utility. So I was basically in charge of building the cameras, making sure the media was straight, making sure the cables were out of the way for the cameras on the floor as they're moving for all the different dolly shots. So that job was a little bit different. It's more of a technical, hands-on job versus a
Okay.
creative job where if you're operating a camera or you're a first assistant, you're more collaborative in the art side of it than you are the technical side of it. Even though as a real first AC should know how to build a camera, but a lot of times you get out of doing that for a few years and all of a sudden you can't remember where the lens goes, and it's pretty obvious. But so yeah, I did my job there at Mike and Molly was just a little bit further down the line as far as moving up the chain. I wasn't quite as high up as where I am now.
And so I also wanted to talk about the hours that you work because
Mhm.
similar to myself, we're able to work on multiple shows
Right,
on the same week, for example.
right.
I mean, I used to see you on the set of Will and Grace as well.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
So how it works with us is with camera specifically on a sitcom, they have a week-long episode. So if it's a Thursday, Friday shoot schedule, meaning they'll block on Thursday, shoot the show with an audience on Friday, they'll go in Monday, rehearse production meetings, go through all their checks and balances of what they need to do, get their rehearsals up and going.
mhm.
And then we'll end up coming in camera. My job and our crew will come in on Thursday morning early, set up cameras, get ready to go, and the first team will come in. They'll run their scene as far as what their movement's going to be, the dialogue, and then we'll break it down and block it, and then we'll shoot it, and then we'll have stuff that will be left over for Friday afternoon for when the audience comes in to shoot live in front of the audience. So in any given week, we'll only shoot 2 days out of that week with multicam. So the way it worked, and the reason why I was able to do multiple shows, and unfortunately in my job position, you kind of have to have 2 shows to really
Right.
make a living.
Yeah.
We would shoot either a Monday, Tuesday show or a Thursday, Friday show. So Will and Grace historically was a Monday, Tuesday show. And then I'm trying to think of what our Thursday, Friday show was. Like this past season, I was on Papa's House. That was a Thursday, Friday show. So to have those off days made it possible for me to be able to do two different series at one time.
Yeah, and what's interesting to me as well is that you're able to work with multiple like crews, you get to
Yeah.
engage with multiple directors.
Yeah.
What's some of the things that you've learned from directors like, for example, Jimmy Burrows and stuff?
I mean, again, I've been in this business for 24 years and I've seen a lot of different people come and go. And
Yeah.
to work with a legend like James Burrows I mean, it's nothing short of amazing. The guy's a legend. He is Mr. Sitcom. I mean, the
Right.
brilliance about Jimmy is on the technical side, he's not as super technical as some directors. Like you have like a Mark Sandrowski who did Big Bang Theory.
Hmm.
Wonderful man, super funny, but he's very not critical, but he's aware of his shots in certain ways. With Jimmy, his thing is, honey, did you capture the funny? And that's all that really mattered. It didn't matter if it was the framing was exactly correct or whatever. It was all about the joke and about the timing. So with Jimmy's brilliance and what I got to see behind the scenes with him is I'd go in and I'd shadow just to see the differences of different directors. You know, Jimmy's genius is the little nuances that people never really notice. He's the type of person that he would tell you the joke, or the joke would be on the page, but
Yeah.
then Jimmy would be like, no, 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 turn around and throw it back. Like as you're walking away. Something as simple as that. And you're going, what? And as soon as they do that, it lands and the joke is that much better. It's just these little tweaks. And that's where Jimmy, he really shines. And that's where you see the true talent of what Burroughs brings to the screen. People would never know. And a lot of people might be hypercritical about his style of shooting, but I
Right.
go, if you see what he brings to the characters and what it is, it's just unbelievable. He's genius. The guy's brilliant.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I've enjoyed to be able to work with that level of talent, especially because
Mm,
they make you not only like be influenced or inspired, but it makes
sure.
you really want to deliver at their level as well.
Yeah, and the difference is with technically for like what my job is. Jimmy's one of the hardest directors you can shoot for,
Mhm.
because he's a lot like Clint Eastwood in the sense of we might only do it once, we might only get two shots. So you have to be on your A game. You have to be able to think on your feet. You have to be able to adapt to whatever the scene changes into and evolves into, and you have to not miss. So that's one of those things where it's with Jimmy, it's really critical and challenging, but I love it because you get into a certain stylistic way of shooting where it's redundant and you shot it 13 takes and nothing's changed and everything's the same. And you're like, okay, we got it. I mean, I don't know what we're not getting now. But with Jimmy, it's like anything goes. And you better not miss because if it was a joke that hit really hard and the audience went nuts
Yeah.
and you got that brilliant reaction that he's looking for, if you miss it, you're gonna hear about it. But
No,
not
no.
Jimmy's not a yeller, but it's just one of those you don't want to miss. You basically want
Uh,
to be seal of whatever your job position is when you're
yeah,
working with Jimmy Burrows.
that's what they'll remember you for, the one that missed.
Exactly. You go, don't I missed that one. Sorry.
No, but
Gotta get back,
that's
Jimmy.
a big props to you as well. I mean, I know that we've taken maybe being around here for granted, but you do
Sure.
have to be at the top of your game to be able to stick around and
Yeah, yeah, it's
be,
hard. It's
yeah,
hard. Burroughs is pretty. He's forgiving, but there's other producers like Chuck Lorre Productions. He's again brilliant man, super funny. A challenge. He wants it his certain way, and
yeah,
if you can't provide that, he will find somebody that can. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I think it actually for me, I again I enjoy that pressure where I'm like, hell yeah. I mean, we're doing a Chuck Lorre show. We're on Mom right now. Or we're doing Big Bang. This is huge. This is cool.
yeah.
And get to be a part of it and know that you're like kind of locked in and they respect what you do and they appreciate what you do. It's differently, or excuse me, it's definitely a different kind of feeling as opposed to some productions for sure.
Yeah, and it doesn't go unnoticed, especially like the story that you just talked about, like getting this opportunity to shadow Don Morgan. I mean, I
Yeah.
think that that would be something offered to just anybody.
No, again, I mean, talk about legends of the industry as far as cinematographers go. I mean, Don Morgan I mean, if you know, you know. You're like, the
Yeah.
guy he's a legend. I mean, talk about multi-time Emmy Award winning, just amazingly talented. And the thing it's really great about working with Don in this is he really knows his stuff. And what he puts on television, when he wins something,
Hmm.
it's him. there's a lot of cinematographers out there, and I'm not saying suggesting in anything that in our circle or whatever, but there are people out there that really rely heavily on their gaffer or the team to really put it together, and then they kind of go, oh, I kind of like this or I kind of like that.
Yeah.
Don goes in there and he really goes, this is what we're doing, this is the look, and I want this and I want that, and he's very very much so hands on. So to get to learn from him and his approach and his theory of how he likes to do things, as well as watching him be able to do it, is it's I mean, it's worth its weight in gold. I couldn't ask for anything better to be with a better person. He's just the kindest man in the world too, which is just not necessarily so true in Hollywood. There are a lot of people out there that have those egos that, want to basically talk about themselves. And then there's guys that are just a genuinely good person and just, he wants to see people do well. He's really just one of those people. So I'm very, very lucky and very fortunate to be a part of that.
Well, we got to hear a little bit about the way that you got started,
Mhm.
but what really inspired you to become a cinematographer?
Well, I've always wanted to do it.
Yeah.
There hasn't really been a time that I can't remember that I didn't want to do it. I was telling you on the phone, I'm a third generation cinematographer in training right now. I have shot stuff, I have DP things before, but getting to the place where I want to be is a different thing.
Uh-huh.
My grandfather became a cinematographer. He actually started at RKO Studios back in the late 40s. He was actually his family were cotton farmers in Alabama. He lived, in one of those shacks that was like raised up off the floor for flooding. I mean, the whole 9 yards. And he wanted something better in his life. And so he thought he'd go into the Merchant Marines and come out to Los Angeles with a buddy of his.
Yeah.
And at that time, the industry or just life in general, they're still coming out of the depression. And so they weren't taking people on. And his friend talked to a girlfriend or whatever and said, hey, they're hiring guys that are like delivering scripts over at Arcade Studios. Like you just stand in line and hopefully you can get a job. And
Yeah.
he did. He went on the Monday that they said to go, and he got the job, and he was successful. He was a hustler. He really worked hard. So he's basically started at the bottom. What happened and how he actually got into the industry itself and got into it was an interesting story. He was delivering a script and actually got hit by a car. They hired him because he was one of the very few people that could ride a dirt bike. And back then, if you're taking something to the San Fernando Valley from Hollywood, a lot of it was dirt roads. So there wasn't really the easiest access to certain things. And so he could ride a motorcycle. So that's how he got the gig. And he got hit by a car. And the actress that found out about it said, we need to take care of this kid. He's at my house every other day.
Yeah.
Make sure he's good. And that industry in that day was very much so family orientated kind of business where you took care of your people inside that in-house. And from there on in, they said, okay, you're not going to be riding anymore. We're going to put you on the lot. And he was in the mailroom. And then one time they had like a kind of a larger expansion of film. They said, hey, we need sound guys and we need film guys. And
Yeah.
they said, what would you like to do? And he says, I'll be a film guy, because he was interested in camera.
Yeah.
And they said, okay. And this is a true story. I swear to God, this is an interesting thing. They said, basically, go home, make a camera out of a cardboard box and a mirror through a pinhole. I'm like, I wouldn't even know where to start with that. I'm like, there was no Google. I'm like, where do you do that? How do you find that out? They said, if you can do it, we'll give you a shot. And so he did. He went home that night. He figured out how to make a camera through reflecting mirrors and light. And they said, all right, kid, come on in. You're getting into camera. So he started as a film loader, worked his way up as a second assistant or first assistant and operator, and
Yeah.
eventually a cinematographer. And he did shows like Gunsmoke and Sea Hunt and The Munsters. A lot of those old time films. He also directed and produced, and he really grabbed a hold of a lot of what Hollywood could be back then. A lot of people could expand and move around a little bit. And then so my dad, he got into the business kind of similar to how I did. He interned and he started in the mailroom at Paramount Studios and
Yeah.
worked his way up. Again, started at the very bottom, became a film loader, became a second assistant, a first assistant, an operator, and then a cinematographer, and eventually moved up to DP on a show called Love Boat in the 1980s.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so he did that, and that's where he started his fifth season. So that was actually really cool for him because he really got a chance to kind of adapt, learning the multicam genre, which he eventually fell into. But he came from single camera, shooting feature films and doing that kind of stuff. But with Love Boat, what made it interesting is it was shot multicam on set, but they did a lot of every year they would actually go on real cruises.
Yeah.
So a lot of it was single camera. So he got to incorporate kind of all of what he did into the beginning of his career, which is actually kind of fun. I actually go back on Paramount Plus and watch some of his first shows and just laugh. I wish he's no longer with us, but I wish you would hear just like go, wow, anybody could like those things, man. Come on. Everything is just there's not a shadow in the room. It's fine, cheater. But yeah, so he moved his way up to the through the ranks, and I've always wanted to do it. It's been a family business in my mind. It's just what we do as an Askins family, and I've always wanted to carry on the legacy and to just be a part of it. So at a very young age, I was always inspired. I was in awe of my dad. He was my hero. My grandfather, same thing. I
Yeah.
was just in awe of what they did and who they were and the respect that they got from people and the way they were looked at as I was just like, wow, these guys are amazing. They're cool people too. This is just unheard of. Um, so yeah, I mean that's kind of where my inspiration came from. It's a family business, and I've always wanted to do it. And yeah, I started the same way. It's like I started as an intern and just moved my way up. Fortunately, we were talking earlier about the business and how it's changed. Back then, I mean, even still now, it's who you know really helps, but just getting into it's very challenging on its own. But back then, we had a film department. We had rental houses that you can go to. We shoot with Panavision or camera support. And nowadays it's you kind of get a job at a rental house and work your way in that way as best you can. But it's just so different where that doesn't so much exist because production, especially in the United States and California especially, has
Yeah.
been so scaled down after COVID and the writer strike. It really tapered off to a very minimal amount of productions out there. So it's definitely challenging for those that are looking to come in.
Yeah, I know it definitely is a different world now, but like we were talking earlier, I mean, it's up to you or whoever is
Yeah,
trying to get in to start getting those
right.
exercises of learning the camera,
Right,
exactly
right.
what you're
Yeah. The
doing.
biggest thing for anybody that I would say that's new or interested in camera or any side of it really is you just got to go out there and do it. You got to try. You don't doesn't the thing that's great about today with YouTube and TikTok and all these different things is there's a platform now where you can put your content out there in a relatively easy fashion and not too expensive. What
Yeah,
you can shoot with an iPhone today is unbelievable. If you have an editing software with any sort of color correction or anything like that, you can make it look amazing. You just have to have the patience for it, and it's a challenge. But if that's what you're into and you're interested in it, then the world is your oyster. You can do whatever you want. So yeah, it's really just getting out there and shooting. I've had people that go, "Oh, I really want to get in a camera." I go, "Do you have a camera or do you have a phone?
yeah.
Go shoot stuff. Come up with an idea. I'll help you. Like, do an action sequence. Doesn't even have to have dialogue. Just quick cuts. Just whatever it is that you're interested in, just go out there and do it. That's the way to do it, and then just put it out there. And you never know who's going to see what. And it's astonishing to see where the business has changed because of stuff like TikTok or YouTube and stuff. It's like before you had to back in the day you had to be able to tap dance and play piano and sing and do all these things if you wanted to be a talent or an actor. Now
Yeah.
you just have to be creative and you come up with some sort of shtick and you can get it out there and people love it and all of a sudden you're producing your own shows. So it's a timing thing. It's a matter of just taking a shot. Just take the shot, go do it. You have nothing to lose, everything to gain.
Yeah,
Seriously.
and just understanding that a studio job like these that we're talking about is not should not be just the goal. Like you should be
Yes.
wanting more than that or find
Yeah, or
different
it's even a
avenues.
matter of getting to this goal, or this is
Yeah,
one of the goals is I want to be on a big production. And I go, yeah, anything's possible. And
right.
then from there, you branch out. Like I always say, keep evolving, keep learning, keep
Yeah,
coming up with something that pushes you because you don't want to get to that goal or that end result and be like, okay, now what? Now what do I do? It's
right.
like for me with lighting and cinematography, every time we get into something new, it's a new challenge. I
Mhm.
mean, you could have similar setups and like, okay, this is the base look of what I'm going to do. But for this, I'm going to add this mood to it. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. Or I want to give this to this scene. It's like it's constantly evolving and changing. You're constantly getting a chance to learn, which is, I think, the key to anything that has to do with arts. It's like always push, always strive, come up with something different, be unique.
Exactly. And then no project is too small to not
No,
get anything from it.
no.
You take that with you wherever you land.
I've learned more on freebies and no budgets
Yeah.
than I did on big stuff. I mean, um, yeah, there's so many so many mistakes that I would make, and thank God I did it on my own,
Yeah.
as opposed to doing it in real production times. That it's such a great lesson. I just had a friend of mine she wants to move up, and she had an opportunity to go shoot a short in a different job position, And she was
Yeah.
freaking out. And I said, good, freak out. Make the mistakes. I'm like, because this is the kind of thing where you're going to learn
Yeah.
more about who you are and how this whole thing works in
Mhm.
this 2 day or 24-hour shoot you're going to do than you will probably in half your career of just kind of just monotony, simple, whatever, keeping it safe. I go, this is the stuff where you're going to learn. This is going to teach you how to be that person that you want to be. So doing those freebies and doing those smaller things, it's such a great tool to learn from. Absolutely. There's nothing too small.
The other thing that you just reminded me of is that for me, when I was coming up, also having that community of people, uh,
Yeah.
for me specifically, like the Mike and Molly crew, that I was able to connect on a personal level,
Yeah, buddy.
able to come to you guys if I ever had any questions, that
Yeah.
even if it didn't pertain to what you did, like you did, or it was something out of the box, I was still able to talk to people and build like a network
Yeah.
in a
And
community.
that's the key. I mean, for anybody that's young, it's like I said, it's kind of who you know is beneficial. So, you doing this and building this program, you're becoming somebody that somebody can reach out to and say, "Hey, I
Yeah.
want to do this," or "Hey, how do I do this?" Which is fantastic. I think it's a great medium for people to do that. So, yeah, community is everything. Networking is everything. My dad he did it differently with me. He knew I wanted to be a DP, and a lot of times you'll have, the nepotism and things like that in the industry where a kid or whatever is working with their aunt, their uncle, their father, whatever,
Yeah.
and they stay kind of safe in that area,
Mhm.
and they're protected, and they've always had a job, and it's kind of like whatever. My dad, he was very much so. You're going to work with me a little bit, but you need to go find your own. And so I only worked with my dad for a couple seasons on a show, and then I was basically on my own, building my own community. So I've worked with every cinematographer out there that shoots locally between single camera and multicam. And with multicam, I think I've worked with and have great relationships with everybody. Patty Lee, Steve Silver, Gary Baum. I mean, all the heavy hitters. It's like you have to branch out and make friends with all those people, and do your job. Really, is what it comes down to. Because then you're building that rapport. You're building that status of, they go, we can trust this person, we can throw them in something, and they're good, and that gets talked about, and then all of a sudden your social circle gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and then you're getting phone calls from multiple people saying, hey, are you available? And now you're going, oh my God, now I'm working. Oh
Yeah.
my God, it's happening, here we go, this is great. So yeah, so it's all about networking and building those friendships and just
Yeah.
being honest, and do what you say you're going to do. That's the biggest thing. Is a lot of people, a lot of talk,
Mm.
but make sure you back up what you say you're going to do, because that speaks volumes over the actual words that are being used.
Yeah, and that's also bringing up a point of always being curious. I mean, I was fortunate to be able to land in the Chuck Lorre productions
Yes.
at the beginning
Yeah.
of my path, but I was always wondering, like, oh, what are they doing over at Universal? What are they doing at Paramount? So
Right.
who's over there? So
Right.
that kept me motivated to meet and network
Yeah.
this circle that I had built. And
Yeah.
so far for me, it's worked to keep me busy,
You're
even.
busy, man. I'm so proud of you. I am so proud of
Thank you,
you.
bro.
You've come a long way, my brother. I love it.
I mean,
You are you are the success story. I love that you're doing this, because for those people out there that are wanting to get into it and interested, I mean, you started from such a humble, simple beginning, and you had a drive, and we saw it in you. That was the thing that was cool. Like
yeah,
watching you do it all, and your interest in your artistic abilities and your storytelling abilities, you couldn't not see it, and you couldn't not um, be inspired by it. The folks at Mike and Molly, everybody there was like, dude, Hugo, have you seen his stuff? And I'm like, dude, the kid's a baller. Totally
well,
amazing.
I totally connected with your grandfather's story because for me, my start really didn't begin until I got to work with Melissa McCarthy on
Yeah,
her
yeah,
projects, and
yeah.
he was the one that was like, "Okay, I'm gonna give you a
Let's
shot.
do this.
Yeah,
And
let's
that's
do it."
what. And here's the thing: for all the younger people out there who is interested, it takes one person.
One
It takes
person.
one person that can change everything, and that's the biggest thing. And so, like for me, like what I do in just my own life and in this business, because it's a challenge. There's a lot of egos involved in this industry.
Mm.
But I always try to make sure that maybe I could be that one person for somebody. I can
Yeah,
go out of my way. It's like it doesn't cost me anything to be kind. It doesn't cost me anything to teach somebody something that they're interested in. It's like, no, you're paying it forward. It's good karma. It comes back to you. And if not, who cares? I'm not insecure with what I do. I've been doing this. I mean, I've been doing this for 24 years, telling myself every year, I don't know if I'm going to make it.
Yeah.
Every season, I'm like, oh God, I may not have a show. Ah. And my wife just laughs at me. She goes, dude, babe, you've been doing this for 24 years.
Yeah.
It's worked out. And it's the truth. It's challenging, but it's nice to know if you can have somebody out there that's got your back, and you know that you have a support system, and you can make the difference. And so you, Hugo Lito, oh my boy, I'm just so happy for you and so proud of you, and see nothing but great things, man.
No, and that's also another point that, we always understood that, just because you have this opportunity and you're working on this project doesn't mean that it's gonna last forever. Like,
Oh yeah, and that's a given.
it-
That's the hardest thing, especially
yeah,
like when you first get into it.
right.
Everything's great, you're making money, and you're like, wow, this is like real. And then the show gets canceled, or something happens and it shuts down for 6 months, and you're like, oh, what do I do now?
Yeah.
That's just the nature of the business, and that's very hard. A lot of people, it can make or break you. You have to have thick skin and have to have an endurance with this industry, like no other. It's its own unique entity, and trying to put it and summarize it and turn it into like a Walmart or some sort of like box of like A, B, and C does this with this. It's like no, it's its own circus. It's its own moving parts. You can't really rationalize how it operates, but that part of it can be very challenging as far as the inconsistency of what it is. So therefore, to go back on building those relationships, it's really important
Yeah.
to have those things, because as things start to come apart or go away, as you know,
Mhm.
you're calling up somebody, hey, just let you know this is going to go away. I'm looking for this, and then you have that, that group of people to kind of fall back on, and hopefully land into something else.
Yeah, that's true. Well, I'm excited to see you on the lot on our next projects,
I
and
hope so, man. It's gonna be
thank
great.
you for the conversation, Sean.
Absolutely, man. Thanks for your time.